seen and I vaguely remember that the Institute has come out with a couple of training dates.
The North Carolina League of Municipalities.
League of Municipalities, sorry.
Is doing training for new incoming.
Council.
And I believe that they've included an ethics training based on the session law.
Right.
Now, I assume that anybody can go to it.
Right, and it may be that if council chooses to go to that, we could go to that, or if not, we could get the attorney to something for anyone if everything.
Just as a proviso, putting the cart before the horse, I think this council has to first adopt a code, policy, resolution, ordinance, or whatever you want to call it first, before you engage in the training. Because the last thing I want to do is have somebody say, how can you receive training on a policy or resolution that the council hasn't adopted yet? Okay.
Well, generally, the training is following the first December, correct?
They're in December, I don't remember exactly when, December, February, March.
Go to ncln.org, and I'm sure they have a link, a hot link to the ethics policy, and it will talk about the training dates.
Well, I guess we need to look at this here. So what I'm hearing is that people are not ready to vote on this tonight without reviewing the statute.
And there's no enforcement and no enforcement.
I think I'd be interested to see if the state ordinance as well as, say the managers association was drafted an ordinance.
Yeah, again, I will clarify the state agency that has promulgated or the state, not agency, that's the wrong word, state organization that has promulgated a model policy.
If we use this code that's here in the packet, I personally would like, if one council member feels that another member has violated the code, that we would take action, or we would discuss it, or we would do whatever they're supposed to do. And I'm only speaking from a personal viewpoint, that if one of my fellow council members felt that I'd done something to violate this code, I would rather know it and deal with it, rather than have it be an undertone that constantly is in the back of everybody's minds but never brought forward.
I agree
That's
with
just
you.
my personal
I've already told Claire that. I agree with that.
So I would like, if we do adopt this, to see something in here that says, if a council member feels that one of the fellow council members have violated the code, that such and such an action will be taken, however you want to word it, or however the attorney wants to word it. Because I think that can be very destructive if we don't deal with something up front and immediately.
Let's get those things to us, and let's see what the others are doing, and have this discussion.
Well, I need direction on here. Two council members talked about a provision, and is that the consensus of council that I place that provision in there, that there be some
In what? I thought I was requesting that you give us the state thing as well as the model ordinance from them. Let us look at it and see where we're at. We have this and go from there. My feeling was we don't have to write the ordinance tonight.
But even with the code, there has to be some kind of enforcement.
Right. Determine how to do that.
Well, Alicia and I have expressed our opinion. Does anybody else have one?
I've not read the state ordinance. I don't know. I'd love to see that background security.
About the way it's investigated.
Can I kind of reiterate what I believe to be the marching orders based on either one or several members of council? First is to bring to you the state statute that incorporates an ethics policy for state employees. My assumption is that that statute would have some enforcement powers in it. It may not. Bring before you the model ordinance that I keep talking about and from the particular state association that has promulgated it. And then, in the wisdom of Mr. Hale and myself in reviewing and researching this issue, some enforcement measures that are possible. Okay?
Yeah.
And certainly, again, not bring them in any particular order, but bring you additional information
I agree.
for you to decide what elements you want to
Yes.
see in the ordinance. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, manager's report on meetings or activities.
A couple of items. First, apparently we're in a position where we have to be part of a hazard mitigation plan for Guilford County that has gotten underway through the Guilford County Emergency Services Division. I attended a meeting this past week, and it's going to require us to basically review a section of the Guilford County plan, determine what our actions are going to be to mitigate hazards. That these are the hazards, generally speaking, that we're referring to are hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, ice storms, things of that nature. So they're typically natural hazards. They could also include major fuel spill or some sort of industrial accident. It's really, for us, mostly pro forma because we don't have emergency services under our umbrella of government, but we still have to be representative and we still have to be part of the process, because if there is ever an event that occurs and the town wants to receive any sort of federal emergency management funding, then we have to have a plan in place. So it's going to basically be a process where there's going to be a draft plan written. FEMA's going to repeat the state and FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Association Administration, will review it, approve it in concept, and then come back down for us to then approve the plan. But I don't really like that process because I feel like we should see it before then. So even though the county is going to follow that process, when we get it to a point where it's ready to go off to the state, I'll bring it to council. It may be December, but most likely January council meeting.
Were you working with one Marshall on this as a safety committee? Because I think that's what he kind of did.
I have not brought the safety committee into it. We discussed just started last week.
Okay, well, I think we discussed that way back when you first came on as the chair then, and I don't know if I already taken over or not, but he indicated when we talked about the shelter and different things, that he has some expertise there.
Certainly bringing it to it.
Right.
Taking the safety committee. The Jordan Lake watershed rules, as everyone knows, has been propagated. We are in the process of developing the adaptive management program for existing development. That's actually going to come before you in December for review, for submission to the state. It has to be submitted to the state by December 31st. And what was originally described to me as all it has to be is a napkin, like the plan written on a napkin, has morphed into something much more than that. So Chris is quickly learning all about our watershed. We try to draft something from that, get it submitted, but it needs to come to council, so you'll see that in December. Tomorrow there's a meeting with the Guilford County, Greensboro, High Point, and other planning jurisdictions and inspections to continue discussion of integration, planning services, and inspection services that myself and Chris will be attending. And next week on the, I believe it's the 19th, the 16th is the MPO meeting, in which they are scheduled to discuss the small town representation of our small towns on the